Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Beaker and the Board. Today's class is entirely based on equivalent weight of oxidants and reductants. Please continue to watch the video till the end because I have given some very important questions from the JEE mains exam. If you understand this concept, it will be easy for you to get those questions. Now, first of all, we need to know what are oxidants. Oxidants are the oxidizing agents. Oxidizing agents are those that help other substances to get oxidized while itself undergo reduction. So that means in a particular reaction, the reactant which itself undergo reduction and oxidizes the other substance is called an oxidant or an oxidizing agent. Similarly, reductants or reducing agents are those that itself undergo oxidation but helps other substances to get reduced. So that means in a particular reaction, in a particular redox reaction, the substance which itself undergo oxidation and reduces the other reactant will be called the reductant or the reducing agent. Now heading on to equivalent weight. Equivalent weight of an oxidant or a reductant is calculated by dividing the molecular mass of that particular substance by the N factor. That means molecular mass divided by the N. So, you must have heard about equivalent weight. You know it. What is equivalent weight? You must have learned when you have studied mole concept and stoichiometry. Now, what is N factor? N factor for any redox reaction is equal to the number of electrons lost or gained. Now, if I show you an example, say, if I give you this example, oxalic acid. This is oxalic acid in which each carbon has +3 oxidation state. Each carbon carries a +3 oxidation state which changes to carbon dioxide. This is the reaction. Carbon dioxide, why 2 carbon dioxide? Because we are having 2 carbon in oxalic acid. Oxalic acid is changing to carbon dioxide plus 2H plus because we are having 2 acidic hydrogen plus 2 electrons. As I have already taught you, in carbon dioxide, carbon is in +4 oxidation state. Do not trust me blindly. You solve it by yourself and verify. So that means +3 is changing to +4. That means carbon is getting oxidized. This reaction is itself oxidation. This reaction is itself oxidation, oxidation half reaction. +3 changing to +4. That means per carbon, it is 1 unit change. +3 to +4, 1 unit change. Since we are having 2 carbons, that means the total change is 2. So for this reaction, N is equal to 2. So if you are asked to calculate the equivalent weight, if you are asked to calculate the equivalent weight of oxalic acid, how will you do it? For carbon it is, let's calculate the molecular mass first, 12 into 2 because we are having 2 carbon, 12 into 2 plus oxygen, we are having 4 oxygen atoms. So it is 16 into 4 plus we are having 2 hydrogens. So it is 1 into 2 divided by 2, right? Because N, as I said, is equivalent weight is equal to molecular mass of the substance divided by N, where N is the number of electrons lost or gained. For oxalic acid, N is 2. That is why divided by 2. So if you calculate this, it becomes 24 plus 64 plus 2 divided by 2. So the answer is somewhat 90 by 2. That means it is 90 by 2. That means the equivalent weight E is equal to 45. For oxalic acid, E becomes 45. Equivalent weight is 45. Let's take another example. Say, if I choose potassium permanganate, KMnO4, in acidic medium. What happens? Let's see the reaction first. KMnO4 changes to Mn plus 2 in acidic medium. Manganese plus 2. That means from plus 7 to plus 2. That means 5 electrons change. 5 electron change. Along with that, if you balance, the reaction comes out to be something like this. KMnO4 accepts or gains 5 electron plus 8H plus, producing Mn plus 2 and 4 water molecules. Suppose if the question is asked to you, calculate the equivalent weight of KMnO4 in this reaction. For a particular reaction, you are asked to calculate. So what do? Molecular mass of KMnO4. Molecular mass of KMnO4 divided by the N factor. So what is N here? We have seen that there is 5 electron gain. So N is equal to 5 for this. The N factor is 5. So let's calculate the molecular mass first. It's potassium. For potassium it is 39. 39 into 1. Plus for manganese it is 55. 55 into 1 because 1 manganese atom. Plus oxygen it is 16. 16 into 4. Divided by 5. So it is something like 39 plus 55 plus 64 divided by 5. If you solve this question, you get the answer to be 31.6. So the equivalent weight of KMnO4 in acidic medium is 31.6. Doesn't matter what the other reactant is. This is a half reaction, not the full reaction. This is a reduction half reaction, plus 7 to plus 2. This is a reduction half reaction. Potassium permanganate is getting reduced to Mn plus 2. Reduction half reaction. N factor is 5. So doesn't matter what the other reactant is. In acidic medium, the equivalent weight of KMnO4 is 31.6. Now, I am solving some important questions for you. Get through them so that you can understand the major concept. So, this is my first question for you. It is on the screen. Note it down and then I will help you to solve it. The question is given that KMnO4 is reduced. 3 mediums are given. In acidic medium it changes to Mn plus 2 salt. In basic medium it changes to K2MnO4, that is potassium manganate. And in neutral medium, potassium permanganate reduces itself to manganese dioxide. Now in all the 3 mediums, you are asked to calculate the equivalent weight. How will you relate the equivalent weight of the 3 mediums? This is your first question. The solution to the question that I have shown you just now is this. The question is, say for example, KMnO4 is given. KMnO4 is changing to K2MnO4. In KMnO4, manganese is in plus 7 oxidation state, whereas in K2MnO4, manganese is in plus 6 oxidation state. This occurs in basic medium. This change occurs in basic medium. Now, we don't have to calculate M. I have taught you already that the equivalent weight, how do you calculate the equivalent weight? It is equal to the molecular mass of the substance. Molecular mass of the substance divided by the N factor. divided by the n factor. Now how do you calculate the n factor? Since this is a change in the oxidation state, here n means the change in oxidation state. Change in oxidation state. I have already taught you. Now, what did you see? That in this change, n is equal to 1. From plus 7, it is changing to plus 6. That means, and there is only one manganese atom for both. KMnO4, 1 manganese, and K2MnO4, 1 manganese. That means only one unit change. So, E2, this becomes E2. E2 is equal to m by 1. This is what is the equivalent weight in basic medium. In acidic medium, the change is something like this. KMnO4 changing to Mn plus 2. That means plus 7 is changing to plus 2. So N is equal to 5 here. N is equal to 5. So E1 becomes something like M by 5. This occurs in the acidic medium. This is the equivalent weight in acidic medium. Now, the next one is in the neutral medium. In neutral medium, KMnO4 changes to MnO2. MnO2. That means plus 7 changes to plus 4. In manganese dioxide, manganese is in plus 4 oxidation state. That means E3 becomes something like M by 7 minus 4, 3. So N is equal to 3 here. This is the change that occurs in the neutral medium. So, as I have shown you in the question, how will you relate E1, E2 and E3? So, what is the case? E2 is the highest. E2 is simply equal to M. So, E2 is the highest. Then, the next one, E3. E1 is the lowest value because it has the highest denominator. So, your option B is correct. This is the option. Option B is the correct one for the given question. Now, your next question is this. The number of moles of K2Cr2O7 that can be reduced by 1 mole of Sn plus 2 in acidic medium. So what do you need to do? You need to write the balanced equation for this first. That means it is like K2Cr2O7 plus Sn plus 2 changing to what happens in acidic medium? In acidic medium, potassium dichromate changes to chromium plus 3, Cr plus 3. And Sn plus 2 changes to Sn plus 4. That means stannous changes to stannic. So, and you need to balance the equation for this first. So, the solution is something like this. K2Cr2O7. First write the balanced equation. K2Cr2O7 plus Sn plus 2. Just as you balance, you get the answer. Sn plus 4 plus chromium plus 3. So what do you see? Chromium plus 6 changes to plus 3. So this is the this is the reduction reaction. And Sn plus 2 changes to Sn plus 4. This is the oxidation reaction. This is the oxidation reaction. So what happens? We need to write the half reactions first. Oxidation half reaction. Oxidation half reaction. That means Sn plus 2 changes to Sn plus 4. 2 unit change. That means this involves 2 electron loss. 2 electrons are lost. And what about the reduction half reaction? Let us consider this, the oxidation half reaction, as equation 1. And what about the reduction half reaction? You can consult my previous videos where I have taught you how to balance reactions by ion electron method in both acidic and basic medium. Now, Cr2O7 2 minus dichromate changes to chromium plus 3. So obviously 2 chromium first, and that means per chromium 3 unit change. There are 2 chromium atoms, per chromium 3 unit. That means for 2 chromium 6 units change. So that means plus 6 electrons, 7 H2O on the right hand side and 14 H plus on the left hand side. This becomes equation 2. Now see, in the first reaction 2 electrons, and in the second reaction, second half reaction, that is 6 electrons. Electrons are not balanced. You need to balance the equation first. You need to balance the electrons first. So that means into 1 into 3 into 3. So what do? The whole equation comes out something to be like this: 3Sn plus 2 plus Cr2O7 2 minus plus 14H plus gives 3Sn plus 4 plus 2Cr plus 3 plus 7H2O. This is the whole balanced equation. So what do you see? The question, as it is asked in the question, that you need to find out the number of moles of potassium dichromate that can be reduced by 1 mole of Sn plus 2. What do you find here? That 3Sn plus 2 is equivalent to 1 mole dichromate. 1 mole dichromate, just as you can find from the balanced equation, that for 3 moles of Sn plus 2, for 3 moles of Sn plus 2, 1 mole dichromate. That means for 1 mole Sn plus 2, what do we get? It is 1 by 3 moles dichromate. So I have shown you the question already. The correct option is A. Option A, 1 by 3 moles of dichromate. For 1 mole, from 1 mole of Sn plus 2, 1 by 3 moles of dichromate is reduced. Okay. So your next question is this, that one reaction is given. Reaction of bromine in alkaline medium to produce bromide, bromate and water. Molecular mass of bromine is given as M. You need to find out the equivalent weight in the above reaction. 4 options are given. Now first of all, from this reaction you can understand that this is a disproportionation reaction. If you have not followed my previous video, I will give you the link. Follow that and understand what is disproportionation reaction, how to identify a disproportionation reaction. Now I'll be showing you the calculation of this. Note down the question and understand the solution. Okay. Now the solution to the question is something like, the equation is this: Br2 plus 6 OH minus, it is 3Br2 plus 6 OH minus arrow 5Br minus plus BrO3 minus plus 3H2O. This is the question, balanced equation given to you. Bromine 0, 2, minus 1. Now first let's write the reduction half reaction. Reduction half reaction. Why? You can say, ma'am, the reaction is already balanced. Why do we need to balance it again? You don't have to balance, you just have to find out the N factor. Now Br2 to Br minus. Now see, this one is involving 2 electrons to 2Br minus. Br2 plus 2 electrons gives 2Br minus. That means for N oxidation, this is 2. 2 electrons change. 2 electrons are exchanged. And during the oxidation half reaction, see, it is Br2 to BrO3 minus. Plus, first you should have to make bromine 2. Both side bromine should be 2 in number. Then this is plus 5. Each bromine change is 5 unit. 2 bromine, that means this is 10 electron change. It is 10 electron change. So N reduction is 10. So if you balance, it becomes, if you calculate the whole N factor, it is 1 by N oxidation plus 1 by N reduction. That means 1 by 2 plus 1 by 10. That means the LCM being 10, 5 plus 1, that means 6 by 10. That means if 1 by N is 6 by 10, N is equal to 10 by 6. That means it is 5 by 3. N becomes 5 by 3. Now how do you calculate the equivalent weight? Equivalent weight is equal to the molecular weight M. Molecular weight is already said as M. You don't have to calculate again. M divided by the N factor. How did you calculate? It's already shown. So it is M by 5 by 3. That means it is 3M by 5. Your option C is the correct one for this question. Okay, so your next question is this. If dichromate ion produces chromium plus 3 ion in acidic medium, then the normality of 0.01 molar potassium dichromate solution in acidic medium would be. That means the molarity is given to you. You need to find out the normality from this. It is just a one-line question. See, if I solve it, how do you relate normality and molarity? Normality is equal to molarity into the N factor. So your work is only one thing, that is you need to find out the N factor. That means from dichromate Cr2O7 2 minus, where chromium is in plus 6 state, it is changing to chromium plus 3. Per chromium 6 units change. Per chromium 3 unit change. That means for 2 chromium, it is total of 6 electron change. So for this reaction, N is equal to 6. N is equal to 6. I hope you have understood why it is 6. Dichromate to chromium plus 3. 2 chromium on both the side. Per chromium 3 unit. That means for 2 chromium 6 unit. So how do you relate? Normality is equal to, molarity is given 0.01 into 6. So the question is 0.06 normal. So your correct option is option D. 0.06 normal. So your next question is this. A reaction is given to you. Phosphorus reacting with copper sulfate in aqueous medium producing copper metal. Phosphoric acid plus sulfuric acid. And you have to balance the reaction and to find out the coefficient of phosphorus, copper sulfate and water. That means for this kind of question, if the equation of this reaction is balanced, then the coefficients of phosphorus, copper sulfate and water should be respectively. That means what do you need to do? You need to just balance the reaction. So let's start. Okay, so this is the reaction given to you. Now, first thing is you need to write the oxidation state of every element involved. Copper is in plus 2 state. In this compound, copper is in plus 2. Sulfate as a whole is minus 2. Hydrogen is in plus 1 and oxygen is in minus 2 state. I am writing the oxidation state of every element involved. Copper is 0 because it is an atom. Hydrogen again plus 1. Phosphorus in phosphate, phosphorus is in +5 oxidation state. Calculate and find out. Oxygen is -2. Hydrogen again +1 and sulfate as a whole is -2. That means which things are undergoing change? Copper +2 is changing to copper and this process is reduction. And what can you see? Phosphorus is changing from 0 to +5. Increase in oxidation state, which we say as oxidation. So after this, just write the half reactions first. Oxidation half reaction, phosphorus changing to phosphate. Make your work easier. Don't use those things which are not changing the oxidation state. Hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen, they are not changing their oxidation state, so we will not involve them in the half reactions. Phosphorus, from 0 it is changing to +5. That means this is a 5 unit change. 5 electrons are lost during this process. At the same time, we need to balance the other substance if needed. 4 water, and that side we will include 8H plus. That means the overall equation comes to be like this. Phosphorus -5 electrons plus 4H2O gives PO4 3 minus plus 8H plus. This is, let's consider this as equation 1. Now the second equation is the reduction half reaction. In the reduction half reaction, what happens? Copper +2, copper sulfate, copper in +2, changing to copper, which is reduction. That means it is involving gain of 2 electrons. This is the second reaction. Now, electrons are not balanced. In the oxidation half reaction, 5 electrons are lost, and in the second reaction, 2 electrons are gained. That means just multiply equation 2 by 5 and equation 1 by 2 to balance the number of electrons. So what is the change? What can we see? If we write the overall reaction, we get 2P plus 8H2O plus 5Cu2 plus arrow 2 phosphate plus 16H plus 5 copper. That means in your question, you are asked to find out the coefficient of phosphorus. Coefficient of phosphorus is 2. Coefficient of copper is copper 2 plus copper sulfate is 5. And coefficient of water is 8. That means your option B is correct. Option B is correct. 2, 5 and 8. I will provide some more questions. I will solve and post some more questions in my short videos. You can consult them. My next class will be regarding redox titration. And I will also provide you more questions related to that. Okay. Thank you everyone. Subscribe, like and share my video.